I'm still not so old that I don't enjoy doing the slalom on the little Honda. But it's sandy and it goes a ways. You're not gonna fall over, are you? So we are in the sandbox now. But all right, back into first, yeah. Jeez, CT125. This is impressive. Look at you go. Goodness. Sandy, leafy, single track. Come on. It's got some technical spots in it, but nothing compared to, running that deep sugar sand. What a nice ride, as it always is. Stop recording. So I'm trying a new thing of just putting the 360 straight up on a stick. That way I can get video from both sides simultaneously, and I don't have to run two cameras shooting, backwards and frontwards. It's nice frontwards because you get a nice clean shot. There's no bars in the way, or I think it's looking beyond the rack I have on the front of the bike, and then I can whip around and show the bike, and you can get a rear view also. And again, I only have to shoot once. I know a lot of people do that, and yeah, it's a nice way to shoot because you only need one camera. I will rig two cameras on here from time to time if I want. I get some side shots or some back shots from the rear of the bike, and put those in occasionally. It's a good perspective to have on certain kind of rides. This ride, like all the rides that I do up here, is a day trip ride out from the lake cottage. And so I've had people ask, what do you take with you? Well, it depends on how long I think, the ride's going to be. This one's, I think I'm out for about 3 hours. And so I always take, my tools and spares. I always ride with tire repair stuff. I have a patch kit, plus I have a spare inner tube that'll fit either the front or the back tire. Have all the tools to affect that repair if I have to. I carry a basic toolkit that allows me to adjust pretty much anything on the bike, tighten anything on the bike, take apart most things on the bike, but not everything. Obviously, I'm not going to tear down the engine on the trail. But aside from that, I have tools that'll take care of all that. I normally will bring an MSR bottle of spare fuel, but this is probably going to end up being maybe a 50-mile ride. And, this tank is good for 125, 140, something like that. And so it just, I don't need to carry spare fuel. Even if I, hit a detour, I'm not going to get into too much. Let me see, where am I at here? Hang on. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think I'll keep going. Keep going if I can get it in first gear. So I have, again, tools and spares to fix anything that might reasonably happen on the bike. So that's pretty much it. I don't like to I don't like to, weigh the bike down with stuff I don't need, but I also, if I have a flat, because that's always a big fear of everyone, including me, I need to be able to fix it so I can get the bike out of the woods. So that's what I do with that. I have insect repellent with me. I have, a Leatherman multi-tool. What else? Spare batteries for the 360. And a bunch of stuff in my pockets that I've forgotten about, I'm sure. Just, camera stuff. Let's go back here and see what's happening. Getting into some sand here. So right up here is the new bridge that was put in the summer of 2024. You can see they paved a little bit before it and a little bit after it. But this goes over the Carp River, which I always think is funny because I've never seen any carp in the Carp River. People come here and go salmon fishing. It's what they do. But beautiful bridge. Okay, so as you can see, we're in the middle of a pine forest, and this is a very sandy two-track, and I'm heading north. This is Town Line Road. I'm heading north up to, the objective is to get all the way up to Trout Lake, but that's many miles ahead, so we'll just have to feel our way and see how that goes. But this is, I've just come north of part of the single track trails that I was running the other day. You're not going to fall over, are you? Okay. So you can see this is all double track stuff, but it's sandy and it goes a ways. Yeah, I just saw a guy come off of the track there. But we're set up for it. I've got spares of everything, and should be able to handle anything that crops up. But we'll see. Okay. On up to Trout Lake, or as far as we could get anyway. And until I get clear of this sand, which I don't think is quite a ways, it's first and second gear stuff. You know, you just try to keep your feet on the pegs as much as you can, but don't be too proud to beg. Put the outriggers out when you feel you need to, which you certainly do in this stuff from time to time, like right now. Yeah, we're in a deep sand patch here. This is 3-4 inches. You can hear the motor digging in second gear. But, you know, as long as you take your time through here, which, you know, I've got all day, I don't care what time I get back, it's fun. You stay upright. It's okay. Generally, as you go, again, this is in eastern Hiawatha National Forest, and as you go east, the sand lessens. As you go west, it increases. Just as a rule of thumb, that's been my experience. And Gaia has it pretty well mapped out. It'll actually show you the sand patches or regions. You know, some of them are 100 yards, and some of them, you know, go for miles. It doesn't show all of them, but it shows quite a bit. Now, this is obviously sand, but this is only maybe an inch or two, and it's packed down pretty well, so this is okay. Now, for those of you who haven't watched this channel before, I'm running Shinko 244s, which I think is, you know, one of the most common knobbies that folks put on CT125s. I have a excuse me, I have a 3-inch on the back and then a standard 2.5-inch on the front. Now, this is one of the few times where it would be good to have a fender lift kit and a 3-inch on the front, because you can plow through this. So we are in the sandbox now, but boy, what a beautiful sandbox it is. You can see we're just first gearing it through this stuff. I think this sand lessens up ahead, but we'll find out. There, got into second. But yeah, so we're continuing to make our way towards whoa, Trout Lake. All right, back into first. Yeah. Goodness. Anyway, if there weren't a challenge, it wouldn't be as much fun, right? You know, where would we be without 1 or 2 good rationales per day? Anyway, continuing to make progress north on, I think this is Ozark Trail. Why in the world it's called Ozark? I don't know. We're probably close to 1,000 miles from the Ozarks. But anyway, that's what it is. No, sorry, we're on Schoolhouse Road. We were on Ozark Trail. Now we're on Schoolhouse Road. Does that mean we're going to see a schoolhouse along here somewhere? Boy, this is an outrigger day. As you can see, you better keep your feet out or you're going to end up face down in the sand. But making progress. And yeah, it's a nice workout. Whoa, yeah. All right, back into first. Plowing, continuing to plow. Hey. I'm the only person I've seen in any kind of vehicle on this road. Oh, yeah. Okay, can I dig out? Okay. So here we're going to run some deep forest single track. Did I mention it's sandy? Oh boy. Jeez, CT125. This is impressive. Look at you go. See what we're getting ourselves into here. Sandy, leafy, single track. Come on. Whoa! Yeah. Okay, yeah, I see. What? No. Not going through here. So, we have temporarily escaped the hell of the 3, 4, 6 inch deep sand. We're not doing much better now. This is very sandy gravel, but it's not the pure sugar sand that, you know, we're running through for the last several miles. Still pretty sketchy. In fact, I need to kick her back down into second. Yeah, still not good, but man, better than that pure Sahara Desert stuff. Yeah, still grabbing the front wheel. Shit. Okay. Come on. So we are still on, gosh, I don't know. Let me stop and look here. What are we on? So yeah, still Schoolhouse Road. Okay. So we're making progress. As you can see, we're going up to Trout Lake, or the Trout Lakes. And making pretty decent progress. There we are. And then again, when we come back, we're gonna just take a beeline back on the beautiful, it's called the Trout Lake Mackinac Trail. It's the old railroad bed, so, you know, it's a straight shot. It's got some technical spots in it, but nothing compared to, you know, running that deep sugar sand. And actually, it's even finer than sugar. That was pretty powdery stuff. There for a while, but at least we're able to get into third gear for, you know, for a moment. I'm sure I'll be back down in second here before long. But as you can see, the you know, the landscape that you go through is just gorgeous if you're into riding in trees. Okay, we're back into the sandy dirt. Back down into second. This is deceptive because it looks like just standard issue gravel road, but beneath it, it's like 2, 3, maybe 4 inches of sand in spots, and so you look like you're riding on gravel, and then suddenly your front tire starts wandering off on you. Okay, we're on a more compact part for a moment. There is just an endless number of trails going off to the right, going off to the left, that you could chase on into the woods. And I do sometimes. But I'm kind of objective driven at the moment and wanting to get up to Trout Lake and look at the lake and I don't know, do what else, but just enjoy the ride before I turn around and head back. Beautiful. Up. Comes up out of nowhere. Yeah. Gravelly sand. It's not sandy gravel, it's gravelly sand. So we're continuing back on the St. Ignace Trout Lake Trail. Just a beautiful, I guess you could call it a double track, but it's a double track, and it does have sand pockets in it and patches, and but mostly it's gravel. It's okay. Way better than the sandbox I waded through all the way up here. But as you can see, it's just a gorgeous ride through through the forest, and this will take me all the way back to Moran, which I think is 15-16 miles on down, and it's pretty much like this all the way down. You go through some open areas, but mostly you're surrounded by white pine, cedar, things like that. And then once I get to Moran, I'll head west back to the lake cottage. But just a really nice ride. The sky is clearing. It was overcast this morning when I was coming up to Trout Lake, and but it's going to be a beautiful afternoon. So a lot of fun to do this ride. heading down Bort Lake Road, and we're going to run around the lake and then down the road back to the cabin. And I'm still not so old that I don't enjoy doing the slalom on the little Honda. You get a nice straightaway like this. Okay, so here's Bort Lake. At the one end of it, the east end of it, is Christensen's Bay, which you'll see here in a second. There it is. You can see over my right shoulder. Yeah, Christensen's Bay. Christensen's used to have a resort there, but since the 60s, 70s, a lot of the resorts here have sold off their cabins to individual owners, and you don't have that many resorts on the lake anymore. There's a couple. There's White Birch Resort, which is by my place. Still really nice. And then here's a nice view of the lake. Coming up here, yeah, there it is. We're at the western part of Christensen's Bay. So Bort Lake is about 5.5, 6 miles at the greatest length from basically east to west, and then roughly north to south. I think it's 2.5 to 3 miles at its widest. It's a shallow lake. I think the deepest part in it's maybe 35 feet. But it's nice because it's golden sugar sand around the edges in a lot of places, certainly on my frontage. So you get this nice golden hue when the sun shines. And then there's a drop off that goes down 15, 20 feet, and it's a peat bottom for the most part. So you get this clear delineation between the gold water and the black water. And it looks really nice on a sunshiny summer day. I put up my drone a few times and, took some overhead shots of it, and it's really striking when you see the color difference. Okay, so here's the road through the field back to the cabin. If I had $1 for every time I've been up and down this road in my life, I could buy something really nice. And we'll be back in the woods here in a moment. So this is White Birch Resort. You can see the sign there. It was built in the 1950s by Forrest and Bill Shaw. It was known as the Shaw Brothers Resort. Well, they named it White Birch Resort. And they operated it until, I think, 1970. And they sold it to Mitchell and Lucille Rouquette. And they operated it up through, I don't know when Mitch and Lucille sold it, in the late 80s. Maybe it was into the 90s before it was sold. Anyway, they did a great job with it. Really nice people. And Mitch was a model maker for Ford down in Detroit, and then retired up here and operated the resort for a lot of years. But he did a lot of improvements to it. And then a couple of the cabins were sold off a few years ago, but most of the cabins are still part of White Birch Resort. And I think Mitch and Lucille's either children or grandchildren now own it and run it. In fact, I just met them recently, and really nice. No, I see him. I see him. Oh, what a nice ride, as it always is. stop recording.